What's going on, guys? Scares here.
Hello, everybody. It's Spiffy with Jackson, and we are going to have. Ooh, it went way too loud over there. Hold on, I gotta lower my mic. Alright, it got way too loud for that thing, but anyways, we're having a podcast right now. We're gonna have a discussion on the most wonderful and popular topic of the modern day, net neutrality, and maybe other topics if we have time to be able to get to it. But
Nobby.
anyways, we have seen that net neutrality is a government, basically, in simple terms, government controlling the internet and everything that passes through it, that controls the IPS or internet service providers.
ISP.
ISP, my bad. Anyways, yeah. So, what's your stance on net neutrality, Jackson?
Well, what is my stance on the repeal, or what is my stance on the actual?
On general.
In general, it is not a good thing.
It is not a good thing either.
No, it is. It is not.
Yeah.
It has ruined the smaller companies to get money from the stuff that they are doing, because larger companies have
Alright, now, before we get into all of this, we have to cover up the basics for the
Oh,
newcomers.
my bad.
Because there's
You're
some
right.
people,
You're right.
because some people, they either are sick and tired of the left wing and the right wing's biased opinions of net neutrality. Although most people think that Republicans are being pushed over by net neutrality repeal, although it's actually not. Okay, so net neutrality, I quote unquote from Daily Wire, one of the podcasts that I have saw, that net neutrality, an Orwellian name regulation that empowers the government to force the broadband network to treat all data traveling over their networks the same way. I may downloading, uploading, internet providers that cannot provide different plans because of net neutrality. Basically, net neutrality sets rules upon people that are on the internet or people that have companies to create internet service. Which makes it basically net neutrality forces impediments, and it is really against the free market behavior, because net neutrality keeps little businesses from growing, basically what Jackson said. But big companies like Google, Facebook, and others support net neutrality repeal because they want little companies to grow, which also increases competition, equals increasing more jobs. So basically, it also helps people that are looking for jobs, etc. And basically, left-siding ISPs will also can be able to take most off, since the government doesn't have hands on the ISPs anymore. So left-siding ISPs can take most websites off that basically doesn't come to their need. And net neutrality also had regulations that basically allowed free marketing competition, but removing the regulations will also give control of the internet to the telecom cables, my bad. But anyways, for example, if net neutrality keeps all ISPs equal. For example, right? Two people are in a race. They're going at the same pace, but if net neutrality had favored a ISP, they would pay that ISP. The ISP will go faster, and the other will stay slower. Basically, bigger companies that are able to pay for the faster internet they need and to provide for their company and to help their customers, for example, Amazon, Google, and other companies as well in general. They basically, net neutrality is when an internet service company pays a site and it goes faster than the other. Basically, this is what I'm trying to say. And it can also be good for the good companies, but that's not helping with the competition at all. So basically,
Smaller companies, yeah, like he was just saying that it helps the larger companies, and that's why, like big companies like Apple, for example, they didn't want this repeal. They're like number one in the ladder. They're like up there in the ladder, and when you're on a high position, who wants to lose that spot? No one does.
You're right. Anyways, yeah, that's basically the base of net neutrality. Hopefully you guys got the basics of it. Now we're going to go up to the real-time problems that are happening right now. So basically, net neutrality and the repeal of it, the repeal of net neutrality is helping with the capitalism and the economy in the US basically. And no, most people are thinking, well, if we repeal net neutrality, quote unquote, we have to pay a lot more for the websites. Although that's not particularly true. Net neutrality, when net neutrality was there, service providers could have a choice to let you pay for this website or not pay for this website. So basically repealing, it's not going to change the pricing of all websites any other way. It's the service provider's job to either set up a website you have to pay for, set up a channel you have to pay for, etc. And basically, the way it helps the capitalism or the economy of the U.S., it adds extra jobs, as I said. Little companies, they cannot afford the data speed to help their customers, or small ISPs, they cannot afford what the government is selling them, basically more than a couple $1,000. But anyways, the small ISPs, they want to start a company. They can't because the government makes it expensive. And now repealing net neutrality makes it easier for the small companies to become competition for the bigger companies, helping the low-income people, or basically helping the people that are trying to start out a business, help other people, etc. Get more jobs for people. That's
Yeah,
how
so
increase the workforce.
Okay, so it's helping out those in the low income, and a lot of the leftists say, let's help the little guy out, let's help those that are in low income, yet they're against this repeal. If they were for it, they would be on the same side that we are.
Yep, you're right. But most other leftists don't get what the net neutrality means. They get their sources from social media. They get their sources from just petty sources that are not even reliable. For example, Anonymous. Anonymous had the wrong idea of Ajit Pai making people pay for their websites. Quote unquote, they said they're taking your freedom away or whatever they said, but they said they're coming after FCC, which is pretty dumb in my opinion. But honestly, go ahead. It's not really gonna do anything. The internet's gonna stay the same as it's always been. But anyways, the repeal. So I have my 1 point. Quote unquote, I'm getting these points from Daily Wire. Go and check that out. Hosted by Ben Shapiro and his other crewmen. And yeah. So basically, point 1. The instances of ISPs slowing down or blocking data is to favor certain sites over others are few and far between. So now, Ian Tuttle notes at the National Review that when the FCC first attempted net neutrality regulations in 2010, they were only able to quote-unquote cite just 4 examples of anti-competitive behavior, all relatively minor. Cell phone networks, which are not subject to net neutrality SK regulations, don't engage in such anti-competitive behavior. There's a reason for this. Such behavior doesn't cut in the free market. As Ben Shapiro wrote in 2014, quote-unquote, consumers would dump those ISPs in favors of others. If those ISPs slowed down or blocked data as favoritism towards certain sites. Basically, that when net neutrality was there, they attempted the net neutrality regulations, which made bigger companies make other sites slow down and other sites faster. So that's pretty much not equal for all websites. Basically, the government is controlling it, so I don't understand how you guys think that's equal if the government is controlling it. But anyways, Shapiro also added, quote-unquote, competition ensures that companies do not have the leverage to discriminate against particular websites. There has never been an urgent need for net neutrality regulations. The internet has always been free by itself. We've always had been normal. But net neutrality, for example, a journalist from another country, the government controls what goes in and out from their data. So, with net neutrality, if a journalist from another country wanted to post an article into our country, the article would then be transferred to the data. The government would check it over, but if the government doesn't approve it, they would discard it. That is not free speech. So basically, if we repeal net neutrality, the good journalist send in the article, it would then be within the ISPs instead of the government's data. Then it would go into the web, basically being free speech, letting people know what's happening within the outer world. Now, my second point. So basically, under Title number 2, the internet is subject to bevy of regulations at the whim of the FCC. So, ISPs have to submit proposals for any new technology or business model to the FCC, which will severely hamper innovation. Although, well, net neutrality hasn't really been an innovation. It's sort of been a really bad test for small businesses to keep growing. So it's been more than 7 years that small ISPs, small other businesses, they were not able to buy what the government was giving them. So basically they were failing. And the repeal is helping them. Basically, many positives. Although well, not the only, but one of the flaws that repealing the net neutrality is that now the ISPs can ban whatever website they want. So if you're lucky enough, hopefully your internet provider will not close out whatever website you are. Porn. But yeah. So anyways, quote unquote, the FCC can decline the request for an opinion. It can also permit the innovation or can require more information from the submitting party, quote unquote, writes Brett Skorup of George Mason University in National Review. And he says again, quote unquote, these OPEC determinations cannot be appealed, and the affirmative decisions can be reversed at the agency's whim. So, additionally, the FCC also has a power to partially regulate the capital investment of existing companies and determine, quote unquote, which companies, if any, can enter the ISP market per total. In total, the internet being under Title II jurisdiction puts nearly 1 trillion of GDP and 2.5 million jobs under a new regulatory regime, according to the American Action Forum, and what the FCC constitutes as quote-unquote abuse can be changed at any moment. So that's an extra 1 trillion of GDP. That takes us out of that trillion debt we're in from Obama's 8 years. People say, our economy is steadily growing since Obama's administration. Not really. Basically, I don't know how people praise Obama when he was bombing Syria, giving Iranians our nuclear weapons, increasing terrorism groups, but they still praise him. The news media hasn't said anything at all. But
when Trump is over here trying to kick the radical Muslims out from those 7 radical countries, it's all wrong.
Yeah, they're not kicking any Muslims out. They're basically banning of which
the radical.
They're not banning any Muslims out. They're banning
No, that's what I said. I said they're banning the radical Muslims out.
Yeah, they're banning basically the top source countries that radical Muslims come from. Now, here, what this means that Title number 2 entrenches that FCC's tentacles into the ISP market and controls it with an iron fist. So, point 3. The FCC can also subject ISPs to a slew of taxes under Title number 2. Per Tuttle, the FCC has the power to levy taxes against companies subject to Title number 2. Tuttle points out that telecommunications companies are generally subject to higher state and municipal states than other businesses. Between the onerous taxes and regulations, the FCC could make it more difficult for smaller ISPs to thrive in the market while increasing costs for customers. FCC Commissioner Ajit Pai explained how smaller ISPs are struggling as a result of net neutrality regulations. Now, quote unquote, among our nation's 12 largest internet service providers, he told the audience, domestic broadband capital and expenditures decreased by 5.6% or 3.6 billion US dollars between 2014 and 2016. I asked him to elaborate, quote unquote, as I've seen it and heard it, he says, quote unquote, again. Title number 2 regulations have stood in the way of investment. Just last week, for instance, we heard from 19 municipal broadband providers. These are small government-owned ISPs who told us that even though we lack profit motive, Title 2 has affected us the way we do business. Now, what's your thoughts on that, Jackson?
I was not paying attention. What did you say?
Okay, never mind. Okay, so
Dad.
that's dumb. Okay, it's no wonder that one 2014 study estimated net neutrality regulations could result in as much as 45.4 billion in new ISP investments being lost over the next 5 years. There has already been some loss in investment as broadband capital expenditures among the dozen largest ISPs fell 5.6% from 2014 to 2016, according to Tuttle. Now, do you have any more examples, Jackson?
Well, I was gonna say that people are saying that the internet is gonna be destroyed because of this repeal. But what actually just happened, this is why you shouldn't follow like media, because you never know if it's gonna be right or wrong. This repeal actually made the internet free again. Like Dante was saying, or Spiffy was saying, like Spiffy was saying that the internet was being controlled by the government. That was net neutrality. It was being controlled by the government. They could choose to delete something they didn't like from the internet, and now this being repealed, that can't happen anymore.
Yep. Basically increasing free speech, and that's good for what's happening around the world that we cannot see, and that's good for free speech for the journalists as well. So, how do you feel about, besides net neutrality, how do you feel about Planned Parenthood and their 101st birthday of killing more than 7 billion babies? How do you feel about that?
Honestly, KYS looking, but
Wait, yeah. Anyways, how do you feel about that?
about killing babies. Well, if you're in support of killing babies, you're in support of any murder.
You're right.
If you're against murders that are going on right now, okay, so like police killing people. There's a big topic too. Police killing black people. You're in support of it because killing a baby is just killing a regular human being.
Yep.
And people don't see that.
Yep. And in Planned Parenthood, most leftists say it's my body or it's her body, it's her choice. Not really. It's the baby's body. If the baby decides that he wants to die, he'll die. Basically, you cannot decide the baby can die or not. That is a life inside your body.
And if it was your,
if it's a fertilized egg, it's a life. Okay, it has DNA in it. It's a life, such as a plant. A plant can't move. A plant can't talk, but it has DNA in it. It's a life. Anyways, well, people say, but what about rape? What if someone gets raped and they don't want to have the rapist baby? Well, first off, the AGI-based figure from Johnson's archive source, only 1% of abortions for cases of rape or incest is widely cited. 1% out of 99%. Rape is the only 1% that is the cause for abortion. Now, the other 99% is saying, don't be a thought. Easy. Now, so basically, abortion is dumb. You want to kill a baby? Not anymore.
Kill yourself.
thanks Trump for banning that. Now people will learn
Thanks
not to be
Trump for
thoughts.
taking money or funds out of those clinics that were doing it.
Yep. And basically, people hopefully they'll learn to not be thoughts.
Oh yeah, like you were saying, um, oh, it's my body. I can do whatever I want to do with it. If it were your body, you'd be the one dying.
Yep. And honestly, I don't know how these people just accept abortions. Like, personally, I was made when my mom was 16. I'm just so glad my mom did not kill me, bruh. But anyways, it's just a personal experience. I'm glad I did not die. Otherwise, I would not be here. I would not have a wonderful life with my family, with my friends, in the church I go to. And yeah, basically, don't abort your kid. Just get married, finish high school. Don't be a thought. Easy. I mean,
If you follow these rules, you will live a good life in America.
yep, basically follow the 3 basic rules to wealth. Finish high school, get into college, get married, get a real job, and your wealth will come to you like the wind. So basically, those are the wise rules of Spiffy. Anyways,
If you don't follow these rules, good luck supporting a family working at McDonald's.
you're right. 'Cause honestly, like, most of the minorities here, or basically most of the teenagers here, Generation Z, shout out to my right wingers, but the leftists of Generation Z, honestly, are the most retarded people you will ever talk to. Like, I can act retarded.
They are.
I can act retarded sometimes, but I'll never be more than retarded than them.
Like, there was that leftist who asked, after the repeal, why do we need internet anymore?
You're right. Wait, yeah, that's what happened, and basically, yeah, but so about Trump's policies and Trump's new economics for the United States. So most people say, well, Trump is a racist. Tell me in one of his speeches where Trump said, I hate this race. I hate this religion. I hate blank or blank. So, unless I find one of that, I will not speak to you. And have you ever knew that Obama is it Champlain Public Library? Is it Champlin's Public Library? Okay, let me see.
I think so.
I want to look it up really quick. Obama.
Where he was talking about he wasn't gonna be with Muslims or Arabs.
No, he didn't want to be with those blacks in the force or something. He's like,
Oh yeah.
I'm not going down the carpet with those Arabs. Anyways, that was
And he was like, I'm gonna stay with my ribs.
Yep. Need some ribs and some vagina. But yeah, that's what Obama said. But nobody's pounding him on that, you know that, right? Basically,
No, because since he's the first black president,
yeah, people worship him. People worship
he
him.
did, yeah, anything he did,
He's not black.
doesn't matter.
He's not black either.
He's not black. He's Muslim.
He's a Syrian, man. But anyways,
His brother.
did you know statistically, minorities, I'm talking to you, leftists especially, did you know statistically you are less likely to be killed by a shark and more likely to be killed by Hillary?
You're right.
And socialists out there, if you voted for Bernie Sanders, you are dumb. You really think
You wanna have a country like North Korea?
Exactly. You want the government to be watching over us 24/7. You want maximum government watch. Basically. Remember Chile back in 1970, 1940, or somewhere 1960s to 1980s. Chile, the country Chile. Their dictator, Pinochet. He was a dictator. Basically, he had the whole government to himself. He had the military to himself. don't say communism is not dictatorship, because it is. Tell me where communism worked. And unless I don't get a country, I'm not about to look into it because I'm way too lazy to research about that stuff. But, anyways, dictatorship is almost the same like communism. Communism has the whole government control, depending on the dictator. The dictator always has a government in control as well. So Bernie, better watch yourself. We're not getting free college. It's basically saying, oh, I can't sit on this. I can't bring this couch home. Wow, I don't have enough money to pay for this couch. I'm gonna do a protest. That's college is a product you could buy, a product you can learn from, a product that will give you a better future. If you don't want to save up and afford it, get a job. Easy. Don't complain about it. Don't protest about it. And if you have common sense, do you ever wonder where these protesters work? these protesters protest about the hierarchy. No, not hierarchy. Not patriarchy. That's disgusting feminist. Patriarch. No. What is it? I don't know, but it's inequality between minority income and white people income. Gender wage gap. Gender wage gap. We are going to cover that topic within 5 minutes. But anyways, we're talking about the minority wage gap. So for example, if a black man gets this quote unquote statistic, more like autistic, but a black man hands in his application while a white man hands in his application. More likely the white man is going to be accepted into the job. Now, here's a fun part. I'm a minority. I handed in my application. There was a white woman. Now I'm saying white woman because we're going to be covering the topic of gender wage gap soon, but there is a white woman. I handed in my application. I got accepted. Do you know why? Because I handed it in first. I had a cleaner application. She probably didn't know really good grammatical skills or punctuation at all, but I handed mine in first. Anyways, I got accepted. So that doesn't count for minorities, because I'm pretty sure if they saw a white, they wouldn't pass over my application and accept her instead. So now, going to the gender wage gap, most people say, what was that statistic? It was 40, no, not 40, okay, basically, I'm gonna look this up really quick. The gender wage gap, they said, so they say the woman is paid 80 cents for every dollar paid to a man. Now, hopefully you guys know how to calculate this, because they did not calculate this wrong. Now, the truth is, the reason why women get paid less is because statistically, women want less hours for their job. For example, a man doesn't have to take care of his kids because he doesn't know how to nipple feed or whatever. A woman, in fact, knows how to breastfeed, so he's gonna get more hours into the job, while the lady, she has to work, go home, breastfeed her child, take care of the child, feed it, etc. That's why women have less hours. But the man has to get the money, pay the bills, buy the food for the wife and for the family, and etc. Just buy the basic stuff, pay the bills, phone bill, whatever bill, water bill, electric bill. They have to pay all the bills. While the
That's how it's always been that way also.
Yeah, but then,
until these dumb feminists came in and they were like,
yeah, but most people on the left they don't prefer conformity. They think it's very oppressive and sexist. Although I don't know how it's oppressive when it is the woman's job to take care of the baby. You're not gonna see a man. You're not gonna see a house husband. That's the most. That's you'll lose your manhood if you are a house husband. I'm just saying. Right. But you're not gonna see a husband breastfeeding his child. You're not.
You can't.
Exactly. You can't. You're not gonna.
Unless he wants that everlasting milk.
You're right. You're not gonna see a man knowing how to change a diaper because that's disgusting. I changed diapers before. I prefer not to do them again. And basically, that's why there was conformity. And so there's gonna be more topics I'm coming up with the women's rights stuff or whatever. Like the reason why can't women be in the NFL? Why can't women be in the army? Well, one, that's sadistic because why would men like seeing other, or why would men want to watch women tackling other women? It's pretty hot, right? So basically, that's why we don't do that. And yeah, the wage gap thing. It's the 80 cent per woman thing. It's not true. Um, oh, okay, so if a woman worked as a janitor, there was a male janitor. They got paid the same, right? They're getting paid the same, but their paychecks are different. Do you want to know why? The woman janitor maybe has a kid, so she drops out at least 3 hours. She clocks out 3 hours before the man. So the man has an extra. Hypothetically, their paychecks are like $10 per hour. So the man gets paid $30 more. Now, as they keep working and the cycle keeps going like that, woman leaves 3 hours earlier than the man, their paycheck is going to come in. The woman is going to be at least. The woman is going to be missing at least the rest of the 3 hours she's been missing because we're leaving early to take care of her family, her child, etc. But the man, he's probably a single or is married. I don't know. I've never heard about a married janitor, but the janitor is working all his hours. He's getting his money, be able to pay the bills. Then he gets his paycheck. He gets a fat paycheck. But the woman, she gets a semi-fat paycheck because she's been missing the 3 hours that she needs to provide to go home, feed her kids, etc. Pick her kids up from school. You never know. Or maybe, because she's a janitor, she could be a night janitor. So, basically, that's how it's calculated. It's by time, not by wages, because the wages are the same for all people. And you can't say that because my mom gets paid fat money, bro. And I've seen women. So I used to work at Subway because I quit a few days ago because I needed to focus on my homework because I really do not like doing homework. I'd rather like researching about real time stuff, real problems. Basically, the women that were working with me, they got paid more than me. I'm not sure more than me, but they got they got paid the same as me. We were getting paid $11.25. As a 16-year-old, I was getting less hours, while the women had more hours because they were adults. So now, is it gender wage gap because I'm getting paid less? No, I'm just getting less hours. That's how it works. That's how it's calculated. Until I ask for their shifts, until I'm able to take their shifts and their hours, I will be getting paid more. But yeah, then later in the year, I was getting more hours. I was getting that fat paycheck. I was closing the store, getting as much hours as I can. Then my paycheck started getting fat, and I started to be equal within the other coworkers over there. But yeah. Anyways, that's how gender wage gap is a false, because until there is a job that you guys can find that is discriminating against gender, because it's a law, you can't do that. So it's a law. You can't discriminate a person of their gender or their race and lower their income. No, you can't. So stop protesting about it. Don't say it's true in the 21st century, because that's been off. There is no more discrimination. There is pay equity now. So yeah. Any other topics? Women's jobs? Want to cover that?
Well, no, let's do. There's a topic that came to my mind. Oh, hate speech.
Hate speech. Ooh, hate speech is not free speech. Yes, it is. Okay, so for example, I was with my friend. He is black. Okay? So I get all the protection I want from the leftists now. So my friend, he's black. He's African American descent. He is a what are they called? Liberian. So he said, oh, one day he said he hated Redskin. Mother Nature. We'll cover that.
Mother Nature tells us to kill the pale faces.
Yeah, we'll cover that topic probably in another video about the Native American history, because most Native Americans, they say they stole our land, they stole our land. We'll tell you the truth about that in the other podcast, but this one will be covering hate speech. So now, hate speech. What is the difference of talking and talking? That's basically what we're asking. Is hate speech free speech? So, can I talk or can I talk? Is it speech the same as speech? So, until you say the word hate, it's automatically not free speech. And it automatically takes away your First Amendment. Because you can't say that. And that's taking away free speech. But basically, it's like quantum physics, you know. It's like a quantum theory of leftists, you know. They lack common sense, but at the same time, you can't phase them with common sense. You feel me? So basically, if you say something like you hate, like basically hating a race, saying something rude about a race or a religion, is automatically hate speech, and you cannot say that. Okay. You cannot say that because the leftists say that it is not free speech, it is hate speech. However, I do not see a difference because you're still talking. That's like saying I can talk but I can't talk, you know? It's kind of like a little ironic situation there. So, hate speech is free speech. Do you know why? Because you're talking. And it's automatically saying, for example, I say I hate this race, blah blah blah. That's hate speech, but it is still free speech. Now, here comes the fun part. You say, you can't say that. That's taking away my free speech. You know? So, unless you're kind of be like a little version of Hitler, I'm gonna beat you up. So, basically, we got that covered. But is there any real life cases that you have of hate speech, Jackson?
Any real life cases of hate speech? Well, there's one teacher at my school that she has banned certain words from her classroom because they're too offensive. Now, when she takes away these words, and she's banning certain words, isn't that taking away part of your freedom of speech?
Yep.
That was one real life situation that is happening right now at my school.
Yeah. Basically, so in the United States, people are trying to change the First Amendment. So they're making exceptions in the First Amendment. Exceptions to free speech in the United States are limitations on the First Amendment's guarantee of free speech and expression as recognized by the United States Supreme Court. While freedom of speech in the United States is a right protected by the Constitution, the leftists had made exceptions to make that right a limited one. So I'll elaborate on that. So, as you guys may not know, what is the definition of hate speech? It's pretty self-explanatory. So you say something you hate, a race, a religion, a person with a disability, which is pretty funny because I do that. I do that daily. But yeah, restrictions that are based on people's actions to words include both instances of a complete exception in cases of diminished protection. Commercial advertising receives diminished but not eliminated protection. Along with communicative restrictions, less protection is afforded for the uninhibited speech when the government acts as a subsidizer or speaker, is an employer, controls education, or regulates the following: the mail, airwaves, legal bar, military, prisons, and immigration. So, here. Oh, the Westboro Baptist Church. Woo. Man, these guys are pretty dumb. Honestly, we're I can't be boastful or anything, but they're horrible Christians. They're not Christians at all.
Who? Westboro.
Westboro Baptist Church, the people that were like, God hates America, fag troops, God hates fags. Well, he doesn't hate the person, he hates the sin. So,
Just to get that
yeah, but you still
out of the
got.
way.
Yeah, but if you are a Christian, you still have to obey him. Me and Jackson are reborn Christians, by the way. So, we could debate on some atheism if you guys want to in the next podcast.
You're right.
All right. So,
Oh, and yeah, in the next podcast, we'd get that. If you guys don't know what being reborn means, we could get that there too.
yep. So, in Chaplinsky versus the New Hampshire in 1942, this is a Supreme Court case held that speech is unprotected if it constitutes quote unquote fighting words. Fighting words. I hate you. Okay. Fighting words, as defined by the court, is the speech that tends to incite an immediate breach of peace by provoking a fight, so long it is a personally abused word, which, addressed to the ordinary citizen, is, as a matter of common knowledge, inherently likely to provoke a violent reaction. Additionally, such speech must be directed to the person of the hearer, and is thus likely to be seen as a direct personal insult. Now, one legal commentator has suggested that, along with fighting words, speech might be unprotected if the speaker intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly inflicts severe emotional distress. Oh man, people actually could get their feelings really hurt, guys. I don't know if you guys know that. Well, I mean, that's what liberals or leftists revolve around. They revolve around feelings, morality, etc. You can't have morality in political situations. Do you know that, right? If you follow your feelings, it can also be not a good thing. You know that, right? So that's why the terminology, the facts will hurt. If you can't go by the facts, bye bye then. You don't have to be. So,
And don't go around saying, "I'm gonna sue you for what you're saying. That's offensive."
yep. But anyways, hopefully, well, I mean, the bill hasn't even passed, so hate speech is still free speech. So, I mean, actually, in schools there is no free speech. Do you know that, right? Because the schools are being paid by government. The government's telling them what to teach, what to say, etc. So, stay woke. Just kidding. Don't stay woke. Be smart. Be smart. Have common sense. Basically. So yeah. First Amendment freedom of speech is limited in the military, limited in immigration, limited in schools, in the mail, etc. But yeah, you guys already. Hopefully, you guys have common sense and know that. But yeah, hate speech is freedom of speech, unless it's like some classified stuff, which should stay classified. Otherwise, you're a little snitch. You're just exposing the secret, basically, unless you're a whistleblower and you're like in some asylum that did tests on human beings. You can be a whistleblower.
Outlast.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, basically, those are the only common things that should be limited on freedom of speech. Military, not schools. Schools need to start teaching the truth, okay? They need to start teaching the truth, bro. They need to stop saying Islam is a religion of peace. Okay, say that to the Muslims that jumped me, bro. Whatever you say. And honestly,
Yeah, if you say Islam is a religion of peace, honestly, beat your chest.
we'll elaborate more on that in the next podcast. There are plenty of more topics we can cover up. Yeah, but just in conclusion, hate speech is free speech, because if you're telling me I can't say that, you're provoking me in my free speech. For I am a civilian. I'm saying what's on my thoughts. I'm not saying any classified things. I'm not saying any strict files. I'm not saying what's in the military or whatever. I'm just saying what's on my mind. That's free speech. So, yeah, basically, that's, yeah. So, any last thoughts on this, Jackson, before we close this podcast?
Uh, no, I don't.
Alright. Hope you guys enjoy this podcast. And if you do have any questions, please comment down below. We will look over the comments and we'll put them in the next podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. And please share this with your leftist, your white wing, your right wing, your right wing, white. Say that really fast. Say right wing like super fast.
Right wing, right wing, right wing, right wing, right wing, right wing.
Alright, anyways, yeah, share it with your friends that are into politics, and yeah, hopefully you'll hear more 16-year-olds talking about political
And
problems.
if you're a teenager that's going off what the media says, just don't even speak to anyone. Put
Yeah.
yourself in an enclosed room, like all by yourself, and just think about the things that you've seen. Like honestly,
And please, don't come with us with any news sources bias. I'm talking about left wings. I'm talking about right wings. I I just go into sources. I look through them. I see if they can't be debunked, and if that source is right, then I'm going to that source, and that's the truth. So that's basically what I do. I'm a realist, and I'm not a white guilt like anyone, even though I'm not white. But I don't white guilt blacks. Okay, if Black Lives Matter, make it matter. Make it matter. Okay, stop saying I pull up on your crib, pull up with my Draco, boy. Don't. No, that's not how you make black people matter. That's how you make them look more intimidated. That's how you make us scared of you. That's what.
Wait, have you talked about the topic of Black Lives Matter?
No, not yet. We'll cover that in the next video.
Okay.
I got plenty of sources that I can use. But anyways, yeah, if you guys got any more questions, please comment down below. We'll check over them. Any comments accepted. Funny comments. You know, funny comments. No? Okay. So anyways, I should have killed myself for that, but yeah, hopefully guys can see the next 16-year-olds cover political topics. Hopefully you'll see the second video. I'll post it within like next week or something, but yeah, anyways, hope you guys liked us talking about political problems for more than an hour with the Black Ops 2 main menu theme song in the background. But don't forget too, I make gameplays too. Any comment is accepted too. Any criticizing comments, please come with them, please.
Please.
Yes, please. I really need some constructive comments. But yeah, all hate comments are accepted too. We need haters, we need haters.
No such thing as hate comments.
Oh, God. As I said, hate speech is free speech. Alright, stay spiffy, everybody.
See why that sign.